Hey guys, I thought I'd do a quick video on how I replace the bearings on a surfboard planer. So these parts are out of Hitachi, and you've got 4 bearings in total. So you've got 2 on your armature and 2 on your cutting head, and the reason why I'm replacing them today is just they're worn out. So you can definitely tell when a bearing needs to be replaced. It'll be very loud, and so sort of give you a demo of that, I'll just spin this one here. So you can definitely hear it's very loud and it sounds like it's got metal on metal. In terms of some of the reasons why you definitely want to replace bearings on a regular basis in a planer like the Hitachi is the bodies are plastic. So what ends up happening a lot of the time is if you let them go, they'll either seize in the plastic boards of the planer, and then it will melt the case, and then when that happens, the tool's basically junk. So you really got to keep an eye on your bearings, and when they start making noises, you definitely want to think about swapping them out in terms of keeping your tool in good condition. We sell bearings on our website, which is a special low friction sealed type. So that's going to give you the best of both worlds in terms of the low friction, so high RPMs, and then the sealed component is going to keep the dust out, which is very important. So these ones here are metal shielded bearings. Definitely not a good idea to put these in a dusty environment, because the dust will get in and then it will destroy the bearing. So definitely recommend getting also a high quality bearing. Avoid any of the Chinese bearings or the Chinese copies. So the ones we sell are genuine SKF. So if you're interested, I'll put a link in the description and you guys can have a look. But in terms of how to get them off, the correct way is to use a bearing press. And so I'll show you guys how I do that, and then also using a bearing press to put the new ones on. A lot of the time people use some sockets and a hammer to put the bearings on. I mean, you can do that, but it's not the correct way. You can also cause damage to the new bearings when you're putting them on in terms of the seal. And so it's always a good idea to, if you've got a bearing press or someone that has one, to do it the right way. You don't need anything sort of crazy. I just have a 6-ton bearing press at the back, and that's more than enough to replace the bearings on these components. So with all that said, we'll go out the back and I'll show you the process of removing these. So we'll start off with the armature first. So I've just put the bearing splitter over the top of this big end bearing, just like that. And so we'll place it into the press. Now I've just gotten myself a skinny socket. I'm just going to put that over the end like this. So let's press this off. So you can see that came off pretty easy, so we'll just repeat the process and remove the small end here. So I've just reinstalled my splitter onto the small end, and so we'll get this one off. And just like that, so we've got all the bearings off the armature, so we'll just move on to the cutting head now. So once again, we've just got our bearing splitter supporting that big end bearing on the cutter head, and so we'll just press on top of the shaft here and remove that one. And so just like that, we'll move on to the small end here. And just like that, it comes off. So what we'll do is we'll now get our new bearings, and I'll show you how we press those on. So I've got the armature set up in the press with the new bearings. I've just used a socket at the big end side just so we can press them all on at the same time. So we'll go ahead and do this. Okay. So you can see here now that they're all pressed on, so we'll move on to the cutting head. And so that's all finished now. So our last step is just to reinstall the components into the motor housing, which is pretty straightforward. All you need to do is just grab your armature, goes into this back hole through here. Wriggle it side to side until it seats. Do the same for the cutting head. And then we just need to screw on our pulleys. So the big side goes on to the cutter head, and that's just a regular right-hand thread, meaning righty-tighty. And then the pulley that goes on the armature is a left-hand thread, so turn that anti-clockwise to tighten down. And then, so just to snug these up, I've got myself an adjustable angle grinder wrench, and I've filed down the tips. And so this just fits into there like that, and I'll just give that a snug, nice and tight. And now I'll do the cutter head. Alrighty, so that's now all done, and that can go back into the planer. So I hope you guys learned something, and thanks for watching.